Wall Street to Main Street, this is LA Late.
It's a major night here on Evenings LA with big news about your stimulus checks, $300,000 of stimulus checks, fast stimulus, and 18 months of stimulus checks. We'll go over the breaking news in tonight's recording, but first, the other news we're dealing with tonight. A hard recession could be coming. What's the difference between a soft recession and a hard recession? All the latest details of today's breaking news report. The ISM report was released and was a little bit too hot for that inflation. This is a manufacturing report. Breaking new details tonight. Then business travel could be flat in 2023. Not particularly good. We thought that travel and leisure would pick up and actually propel this economy, but not yet at the latest details across the board. Then December 13th and December 14th are lining up to be critical days on this channel. Why? Because on December 13th, the latest and final inflation report of the year is released. The CPI for the month of November is released on December 13th. Then, December 14th, the Federal Reserve will be announcing what they're doing with this economy with that December FOMC meeting. That's why you need to get these incredible stimulus. They're not from your state. They're huge, and you need to move very quickly. They're not from any particular group. They've been lost since the month of March. You need to apply. And tonight's recording, we go over these massive amounts of checks. They are huge. These stimulus checks have been paying since March. Viewers have been getting them since March. If you found this channel, welcome. Over this 1 hour broadcast, I'll show you how to get these checks. I'll teach you in this broadcast. 18 months of MSC checks, 5 checks per month. About $3,000 is what viewers are getting. And in tonight's recording, I'll show you all these details over this incredible broadcast. Yes, $300,000. Fast stimulus paying in less than 2 days, 18 months of checks, $3,000 of checks a month, and about 5 checks per month. Well, the latest details in tonight's recording. Plus, the other breaking news we're dealing with today is a major report says that savings could be gone next year. It's a huge night and a lot of major breaking news across the board. The savings are gone in early 2023, and that's what's going to happen. Stimulus stampede, but you're not going to wait there yet. You're going to watch this entire broadcast. I'm going to show you how to get great stimulus right now, as viewers have been getting it right now. It's a big night. It's a big day as we count down the minutes and the hours to that December 14th with the Federal Reserve announcement and December 13th with the inflationary report. All those and more breaking news heat up tonight's broadcast on Evenings LALATE. And good evening, everybody. Yes, December 13th and 14th are critical days because why? On the 14th, the Federal Reserve will announce what they're doing with those interest rate spikes, the last FOMC meeting of the year. But the day before, we have the breaking news of the inflationary report released on December 13th. That indicates where this economy is going. And over this broadcast, we have a lot to go over, including your incredible force stimulus. Let's look at that big stimulus starting right now. That big stimulus is important. You must move fast. It is law since the month of March. Not from your state. It's absolutely incredible. You want to get those incredible stimulus checks, and I'll show you how to get them. They are everywhere. They're not for any particular group. You need to apply. Again, they are everywhere. There are a lot of checks. They are stimulus checks of about $300,000 available for you. And I'm going to show you over this incredible broadcast how to get these incredible checks. 18 months of MSC checks, about 5 checks per month is what viewers are getting. This is all law. This is what viewers have been paid, including SSI and SSDI. Railroad benefits veterans have been getting it for this channel. They've been getting it all this year. They got it last month. They're getting it tonight, and they got it next. They're going to get it this month as well. We're going to go over all those incredible details in tonight's breaking news from the shores of Santa Monica, California. How are you? And hope you're having a beautiful holiday season. In tonight's recording, we have a lot to go over. But first, of course, those massive checks. $300,000 of checks were made law by Joseph Biden and Congress in March, and viewers of this channel have been getting them ever since. They're still getting them this month. They got them last month. Once you get approved, it's almost automatic because they come every month. Viewers are getting them on a monthly basis, about 5 checks per month once they're approved, and about $3,000 of checks per month. Over this raw recording, I'm going to go over what these checks are. We're going to go over how they work. We're going to go over how you get them. And we'll go over the actual checks one at a time in this recording. Stay with me. But first, let's go over the breaking news that's important to understand why you need to get these stimulus checks. And it brings us back to February of this year. In February of this year, I was the only American broadcast to record that I was predicting, based upon the data, that the U.S. economy would go into a 2-year recession starting in January of 2023 for 2 years, 2023 and 2024. At the time, no one would dare use the word recession. In fact, one of the major heads of travel and leisure appeared on Broadcast News Today, and he says, I don't even see a recession. So some people still don't want to say recession. Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, was among those people. Early this year, he refused to use the word recession at all. And he said, you know what? I don't even want to predict it out. When I was predicting it, and I said, you need to get stimulus. And as soon as I said that, in February, predict a recession coming in less than 30 days from now, which is in January of next year, viewers of this channel said, if you're right, LA, give me some stimulus. Give me some darn stimulus, because you've taught me to pounce and err on caution. Don't be risky with life. Get money ahead of the storm. Don't wait for the storm to hit on land. And in March, I found those incredible stimulus checks. 3 mandates I had for myself at the time. 1, I wanted big checks, because with a 2-year recession, $1,000 checks, $1,200 checks, $600 stimulus checks aren't going to cut it. You need tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks. We found them. And in this recording, we're going to go over these tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks. Number 2, I wanted to make sure that there was broad eligibility for these stimulus checks, because I want you to get them. I didn't want stimulus checks where just one person qualifies. I want you to qualify. The great news is you do. Only 2 factors are at issue, and you qualify for these 2 factors. 1, single individuals that make $75,000 or less, you qualify. Well, that's you. Pretty simple, right? Married couple, $150,000 less annual income, you qualify. That's your family as well. And that's all you have to wonder about these incredible checks. Then the third mandate was ease of getting them. I wanted it very easy for you to get them. I didn't want to just record a video and talk about it. I didn't want to just educate you in a video. I wanted to also show you, here it is. And that is the LALATE newsletter. The LALATE newsletter is written by me personally for you, and it has all the incredible checks featured in today's recording in there. You just go down, bam, and apply. Down, bam, and apply. It's that straightforward. We're going to go over all this in just a second. But first, let's go into the breaking news, and it starts, of course, actually with Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase. Yes, that guy who said he did not want to talk about a recession, refused to predict a recession. Well, today, it's as though he never said that ever before. Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, CEO, appeared on Broadcast News Today and talked about the following details. This was his quote. When you're looking forward, there's certain things that may well derail this economy and cause a mild or hard recession that people are worried about. This is actually shocking, because this is a guy that refused to ever use the word recession before. And that hard recession basically describes what I've been talking about across the board. What is a mild recession? What's a hard recession? Hard recession is one that goes on for 2 years, obviously. Mild recession is one that, just certain groups feel. And this is not going to be a mild recession. Mild recession was the prior 2 recessions. The 2000 recession, which was the savings and loan debacle. If you did not have anything to do with savings and loan, you didn't feel it. The 2008 recession was also mild for some people as well. If you weren't in the housing industry, if you weren't in the tech bubble, then you didn't feel it as well. This is going to be a hard recession. Hard for 2 reasons. 1, broadly felt. Every walk of life is going to be impacted by the recession. Number 2, hard because it's going to hurt really badly. And we have seen this over this broadcast. You have been talking about it. You've been predicting this as well. Over the last few months, we've talked about that runaway consumer spending on credit card debt, on credit cards, where people don't have the savings. The credit card spending is the largest of a generation, and the savings is the lowest of a generation. We'll go back into those breaking details in just a second. So this hard recession is now the talking point of a person who once said, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about recession. The second breaking news story we're working with tonight is the ISM report. The ISM report, which is a November report released yesterday for manufacturing, so that manufacturing was a little bit too hot. And markets are now looking at that data as the latest data that is actually too hot. It has been since last week now 3 reports back to back that are all too hot. On Thursday, we had the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, the PCE, which is an inflationary gauge that always comes out before the CPI, really hot, up month to month, up year to year. Then on Friday, the biggest of all the numbers that showed the unemployment stayed the same and the salaries went up a lot, nearly 6% year to date. That was the monthly jobs number. And then today, the ISM, manufacturing, also too hot. This is a lot of inflation and really not particularly good across the board in view of Jay Powell trying to get inflation down very quickly. It appears as though it's not working. The third data is actually a little bit promising, and that is the business travel. The business travel is really getting interesting tonight because there's a brand new report out that business travel may have plateaued. This is not particularly good because we want to see growth of the economy. We don't want to see shrinkage of the economy. And the latest report shows that business travel may have flattened out. It feels like business travel, and this is probably indicative of pre-recessionary kind of behavior, has plateaued, even though our revenues are still going up, said the head of United Airlines minutes ago. He says that business travel is not picking up. It's flattened out again, even though their revenue has gone up because they're charging more money. Well, revenue, but they're also costing more money because of jet fuel. Wow. And this is, my friends, why you need to get these incredible stimulus checks. These stimulus checks are huge. And let's remember, they were passed in March. Viewers have gotten them in March, and you qualify. Let's look at those big, bold, beautiful stimulus checks first. They're about $300,000 of stimulus checks. We're going to go over those checks in just a second. Second, they're fast. They're paying out in less than about 48 hours in some cases. Third, they're 18 months of stimulus checks. In those 18 months, the viewers are getting about $3,000 a month and about 5 checks per month. They've been getting these checks since March. They got them last month in November. They're getting this month in December. This is for you. You qualify. All you have to do is watch this entire broadcast. I'm going to show you everything about these checks. But first, let's go over what they are. 3 categories of checks, but really this is the first category. That is the big win for you. Federal stimulus checks. Federal, because it's from the federal government. In your daily walk of life, you're exposed to 2 parts of this U.S. government, of this U.S. political environment. First, you have your city, county, and state. Second, you have the federal government. That is Congress, Washington, D.C., the president, Bernie, Liz. That is the federal government. Now let's talk about money. How much money does your city, county, and state have? About this much or this much. City, county, states are going bankrupt left and right or have very little money at all. So they're not going to send you big stimulus checks. Never, ever, ever. It's the federal government that has this type of money. That's where you want to get the big money, federal stimulus checks. And that's why I have big checks for you over this broadcast. We're going to go over those checks in just a second. But let's go into the other 3 breaking news stories that we're looking at right now. And those 3 other breaking news stories that we're looking at right now are really shocking. Number 1, there is that December 13th, 14th date. That is huge. That December 13th and 14th date, what are they? On the 13th, the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, the last CPI for the year, this is for the month of November, an inflationary report that everyone uses, including you and I and the Federal Reserve, is released. And then December 4th, the big moment of truth. When the Federal Reserve announces their final interest rate spike of the year, boy, that is a big one. Then the last story before we go back into some more stimulus checks, and this is a big one, and leads up into stimulus checks very beautifully, is back with Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon also said that savings could be gone or will be gone in 2023. Let's look at what Jamie Dimon said minutes ago. He said that consumers have saved up $1.5 trillion in savings from all that stimulus package. He actually says pandemic stimulus since 2020. and are spending about 10% more than last year. Okay, that's a lot of data. So he says they had saved up $1.5 trillion in savings, but they're spending faster, much faster than last year. So what does he then say? He says that that savings of $1.5 trillion will run out, gone, zippo, nothing left by middle of next year. Folks, this is the type of data that only a bank head would know. This is the type of data you and I wanted to hear. We had that big data last week or maybe 2 weeks ago from Bank of America, American Express that said spending was out of control. Spending was out of control. They've never seen credit card spending like this ever before, but we don't know about savings. The only person who knows about savings is bank owners or bank heads. And JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says the savings are running out so quickly, they're going to be gone by middle of next year. There you go. You said January, February. I initially put it late. I actually originally put it in December. I put it actually earlier. You put it a little bit later. He actually puts it middle of next year or early next year. So there you go. That's why you need to get the stimulus. This is why you got to watch this channel, because this is all breaking news. This is just buried in a quote by a guy who knows a lot. And that's why you got to get these incredible stimulus checks. Let's look at these big stimulus checks that are huge. Past in the month of March, we're going to start with those big federal stimulus checks right now, those FSCs. Because guess what? If the U.S. economy has consumers running out of cash next year, what are they going to be doing? Looking for stimulus. Those checks are big. The federal government started FSC checks, started with Joseph Biden, $100,000, passed by Biden by executive action in the month of March. They're huge, and they are checks A, B, and C. And you qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. And in this recording, we're going to go over those incredible checks A, B, and C in just a second. This is Santa stimulus, Christmas stimulus, federal stimulus. All you do is become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Go into this video, become a member, and get ready. Because, Congress passed more checks of FSCs, bringing us to hundreds of checks. And those are E through K. They're coming up in just a second. With E through K, we went to hundreds of checks, and then I found L and M, N and O, P and Q, all in the LALATE newsletter. For members, you get these incredible checks down in the membership newsletter from 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. You go down in the YouTube alert, past the guy with the surfboard to where it says View Posts. Click the button where it says View Posts, and that sends you right into the LALATE membership newsletter. You pounce and get these incredible checks as quickly as you can. Get that incredible newsletter today. Become a member right today. And with that, let's go over some incredible checks, starting right now with those first 3 checks. Let's not even miss a beat. Let's start it right now. Check A, a $6,500 to $12,000 stimulus check. Do you want a $12,000 stimulus check? Of course you want $12,000. How do you get this? Step 1, join this channel. Become a member. Then get that membership newsletter from me to you at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Know your time zone. That's 10 o'clock on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock in the Midwest, Central Standard Time, via the YouTube alerts. Go down to where it says in the newsletter, Check A, click the link, and go right and apply. This is the wonderful check that Spelly got, and also Kimberly got as well. But you're not done there yet. You're going to go get check B. Now, check B is a lot of money, and this is the one that's paying out months and months of checks. This is where those 18 months is really coming in big. $15,000 to $80,000, but in some cases, viewers are getting even more than that. And this is just absolutely incredible. How do you get it? You go into the video, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Get that newsletter, go down the newsletter, check B, click the link, and go right in and apply. It's that straightforward. And here's what happened. We have a lot of viewers, including Frank Mancuso, a lot of viewers who are getting 18 months of checks. Here he got 18 months of mortgage, 18 months of utilities. That's a lot of checks. And 18 months of high-speed air. Folks, that's about 6 checks per month in 18 months. That's a lot of checks. That is nearly 80 checks. He became a member and got this in less than 30 days. Tens of thousands of dollars he got for just paying a few dollars to become a member. Why would you not become a member? Now, we had 2 other viewers who got even more. They also got 18 months of checks, but they got about 5 checks per month and about $3,000, $5,000 across the board. I told you, check B is a lot of money. Viewers have been asking me a great series of great questions. Your great questions are getting more sophisticated. It shows that you're really learning to earn on this channel. They asked, is check B for rent or check C? In some cases, I have viewers getting rent from check B, but it really is check C. Try it with both. Don't not try. Always try whatever you can do. Check C is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And how do you get this check or these checks? You go under the video, join the channel, go down to check C where it tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. 12 different places. You reach out to 12 because you'll get a yes, but you'll also get a no for every application you apply, for every 2 applications you apply for. And how much in those incredible sums of money are viewers getting? Let's look at them right now. Do you want $30,000 of rent? Of course you do. Go under this video, become a member, join this channel, and then go down to check C and get some incredible rent. Here you go, $30,000 of rent. What about utilities? Well, $15,000 is what Mark's brother-in-law got. Here's Mark at $6,500. Then, how about SNAP? His same brother-in-law, $250,000 over 10 years. Combinations of checks. Incredible. Here's Mark. He went from $32,000 of stimulus checks from this channel as a member to $50,000 of stimulus checks as a member to then $100,000 of stimulus checks to $166,000 of stimulus checks. Lorraine was at $105,000 of stimulus checks. She went to $155,000 of stimulus checks. How do you do this? Step 1, you go into the video, subscribe, then hit that bell under the video so you have all notifications set to all on so you don't miss anything from this channel. And number 3, you hit the join button. Join this channel and get these incredible checks. Dragon had gotten $170,000. Johnny got 20 friends and neighbors, $250,000 of stimulus checks. But I love Lynn Glenn's success story. Lynn Glenn associates with all of you on SSI and SSDI, and she has gotten massive stimulus checks from this channel as well. Now, what she's doing is she's teaching other people how to do it as well. I love this story. Let me show you the history, the timeline. Lynn Glenn had initially gotten just a few months of utilities. I said to Lynn, go get more months of utility stimulus checks. She brought it to 14 months of utility stimulus checks. That's not 14 stimulus checks. That's, all her utilities, which could be 5 per month. 5 times 14, folks, that is a lot. That is close to nearly 60 stimulus checks. Then she started with about 4 or 5 months of rent. Well, I said, go get more rent, Lynn, and she did. She went to 12 months of rent. That's incredible. So there you go. That's Lynn Glenn, but her story gets even better. She inspires, she motivates, and she also educates. How? She watched the videos, she learned to earn, she got stimulus checks for herself, and then she taught a family member. And that family member, brand new over the weekend, got 12 months of rent as well. I love that story. That's how you rock and roll. You become a member, you listen, you learn to earn, and you keep on bouncing across the board. Let's go back into the breaking news that we're dealing with tonight, because there is a lot of it. The other breaking news that we're dealing with tonight is savings gone. The big concern is that Americans are spending out of control and that the spending is exceeding the savings. But we never knew that for certain. We always predicted it or guesstimated it until tonight. Tonight we have the confirmation. You and I had already known that the credit card spending was out of control earlier this year, in November. We already knew that from the credit card companies. They told us the historics showed the credit card spending is the highest we've ever seen of a lifetime. Then we also knew that the credit card companies were saying that the savings account are the smallest of a generation. But we didn't know how they match up, savings versus credit card debt. Are they going to be able to pay the credit card debt? Or are they not? No. When you pair all this information tonight, this is what you learn. Jamie Dimon, Jamie Morgan Chase doesn't pair it together, but I'm going to take his comment and pair it for you. He says that consumers have $1.5 trillion in savings from the pandemic stimulus programs saved up, but they're spending way too fast, a lot faster than last year. They're spending 10% more than last year. Folks, that's a lot of spending. So he says that with inflation eroding everything, they are going to run out, they're going to use up their $1.5 trillion of savings by mid-year next year. This is big. It is a double whammy if you look at the comment really slowly, and I just did it myself. This is really almost live taping because I'm having a reaction to his quote. Americans have savings. They're spending way too much. They're spending out of control with no sense of budgeting. And then there's another part of the equation, which I didn't really catch. Did you catch it? Because you have to be very cautious of how he's saying his words. They're spending out of control. And then they're going to buy items that are way too high in price because of inflation. Here's an example. You don't need 5 trips across the country this year. You don't need 5 round trips, but that's what Americans are doing. They're taking round trips like it's going out of style. Now, that's rampant spending, but there's another part of the equation. The airline flights are a lot more expensive than they've ever been. So now they're spending out of control, and the items they're buying are much higher priced than ever before. So they're buying things that they would never have paid for at these price points, 2 years ago. It's an ingredient for destruction, and that destruction is when people run out of cash. So if people run out of cash in early next year, what does that mean? Stimulus stampede, they'll all be here, number one. Number two, they'll try to have solutions given to them for their problems. There's a foreclosure on my house. I don't have foreclosure mortgage assistance. I don't have foreclosure moratorium anymore on this channel. That's gone. Eviction moratorium. It's gone. I have rent for you, but I don't have eviction moratorium. There's two very different things. And ultimately, this is an ingredient for big trouble. And this is always what we worried about, but today we have the confirmation. And that is why it's so huge. Let's go to another thing that we're working on the big second half as we come back with some more stimulus checks, is auto earnings beat. We have an auto supply store that announced minutes ago that it beat on top and bottom in corporate earnings. What a shock. We'll also be counting down to that big Costco earnings tomorrow as well. Stimulus checks heat up the big second half. We continue with these $300,000 of checks in this big second half. Those massive checks of 18 months of them checks, we're going to pick up with those checks E through K. We have a lot of checks coming up in the big second half. Then we're going to be turning over those lifetime of stimulus checks also in the big second half. And we'll also understand where this economy is and how it's going. It's a big show, and we're just getting started. I'll see you back in the second half as all this and more breaking details of stimulus and your economy heats up evenings at LALATE.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues in the big second half as we continue with these incredible $300,000 of stimulus checks. stimulus checks because they're paying out in about 48 hours in some cases, 18 months of stimulus checks. And the big news continues all throughout this week. Tonight, we continue with more of those corporate earnings that are coming in. But tomorrow, Campbell Soup's, Brown & Forman, Lowe's report corporate earnings. And then on Thursday, we go into Costco with their corporate earnings as well. It's a big week, and we're just getting started. And with this big second half, let's jump back into those incredible stimulus checks. After the president did those great executive actions, which established checks A, B, and C stimulus checks, then came Congress, and they did checks E through K of stimulus checks. And I found you L to Q of stimulus checks thereafter. Let's go over all these incredible checks, stimulus checks, E through Q, starting right now. Check E is a $7,500 stimulus check. Beautiful. F is a beautiful $4,000 stimulus check. Then check G is a 30% off stimulus check. Check H, a $2,000 stimulus check. Love it. Then check I is a beautiful $8,000 stimulus check. Check J, $8,000 stimulus check. Check K, a $14,000 stimulus check. Love it. But we weren't done there yet because I found more checks for you thereafter. Check L is a beautiful $100,000 on average loan interest-free grant money. And then M is a $4,000 stimulus check to go with it. Love it. Stimulus N is one of my favorite stimulus items. It is a brand new tablet, computer, a laptop for the holidays, plus free internet. I adore this. This is what Jean Malouf got. Then he inspired Spelle, who inspired Lincoln. They all got it. But I said to Jean Malouf, go get some more stimulus checks. And he did. In 2 days, he got $24,000 of stimulus checks from this channel. Stimulus O is zero down payment, zero closing costs for a first home, and no insurance required. And then Stimulus P, 3% down, and $8,000 of stimulus check to go with it. I love it. And those, my friends, are your big, bold, beautiful stimulus checks we call on this channel federal stimulus checks. Let's go over a little other breaking details about them right now. Largest of these stimulus checks, $100,000. Smallest stimulus check, $8,000. Fastest routing time for these stimulus checks, 2 days. Johnny started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had $45,000 of stimulus checks from this channel as a member. Then what happened after that? By Friday, he put 15 applications in for stimulus checks, half rejected, half approved, $80,000 of stimulus checks in his hands. The following week, he helped his mom get $50,000 of stimulus checks, his dad $50,000 of stimulus checks. Then he helped friends and neighbors get $250,000 over those 20 friends and neighbors. Just absolutely incredible. $250,000 of stimulus checks for 20 people. Just absolutely incredible. What are these stimulus checks? We have stimulus checks for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, home repairs, home appliances, the car, the computer, the internet, and more. It's absolutely incredible. And what's important to understand is that this is available now. And if you take this data from JP Morgan Chase, had Jamie Dimon today, you take the data from American Express's CEO and Bank of America CEO on credit card spending, if you take the data of all these elements together, what does it say? The data collectively says Americans will be out of savings, will have no more savings by middle of next year because of their spending and because the products they're buying are so much higher because of inflation. Nothing left for savings. What does that mean? That means they were watching this channel. In February this year, I said the following words, and tonight I repeat them again. This is how you prepare for a 2-year recession, whether it's a hard recession or a mild recession. You increase your savings. You remove your spending, reduce your spending. You remove your debt, credit card debt especially, anything that has a variable debt, and you get as much stimulus as possible. Clearly, the people on the path that Jamie Dimon's describing are not people who've been watching this channel. They got stimulus, according to Dimon, back in 2020. They haven't gotten new stimulus. And what are they doing? Spending 10% more than last year. And not preparing for a recession. Oh, boy, these are clearly not Purple Power viewers. Those people are featured throughout the day and certainly tomorrow on this channel, these non-viewers, because this is a big warning signal. If you are that person and you just found this channel tonight, good. You are still early enough. You can change your behavior tonight. Step 1, become part of the Purple Power family. Step 2, stop spending. Step 3, remove that debt in the household. Pay it off or switch it to fixed. And number 4, get lots of stimulus. See, there's 4 things you got to do. You have to actually do these things. If you don't do them, then you're exactly on that path of running out of stuff, cash, in 2023, and that's not you. So welcome to the Purple Power family. Let's now continue with those incredible checks. Let's jump over to some inflation relief stimulus checks, ISEs. I call them ISEs for inflation, but also for icing. Not a lot of money. They're from your state, about $1,000 a pop. So $1,000 ain't going to pay your bills more than, 30 days? But they're nice. Details of those ISE checks are in the membership newsletter down at Check D. Then lifetime stimulus, because once your benefits go up, they never go down. It's important to understand how benefits work. And the concept of benefits is very simple, that once you get a lift on benefits, they never go down. Once they go up, they never go down. And what's important to understand is that they're going up. So yesterday, I had a beautiful comment by a viewer, private message on social media, and he said, can you go over all these different parts together? Because I see how I was misled by other channels, and now I understand this, but I want you to put all the parts together. Absolutely. It was a great point. So let me do it again tonight. This is December, but let's take it back to November. In the month of November, what was going on? You got a check. That check in November of 2022, last month, was 5.9% higher than last year. It had a raise in it. That amount of that check you're going to get this month of December 2022. And then come January 2023, what's going to happen? You're going to get 8.7% higher on top of the 5.9%. From January 2023 to December of 2023, you're going to get, again, 8.7% higher than your current check you're receiving today. Then in 2024, you're going to get another raise on top of that, potentially about 2 to 3%. And then 2025, you're going to get another raise on top of that, potentially 2 to 3%. Why? Because inflation is going to be around 2 more years, as everyone and their sister and brother, including Jay Powell. That's why you're going to get 4 raises, not 1. Number 2, by 2025, the cost of living will be the cheapest of a generation. So you have a largest check of a generation, but the items you'll be buying will be the cheapest of a generation. You won't be spending your savings anymore on expensive goods. They will be down, because once your benefits go up, they never go down, but the items you're buying will be back to normal prices. And then the topic that viewers really love that I went over. It's talking about the envelope in the mail and the postman. The postman who delivers your check for benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, ostensibly will not be delivering the December check in the month of December, but rather in the month of January. So the December check will arrive in the month of January. Also arriving in the month of January is the January check. So you will get the December check and the January check in January. Pretty simple, very simple. Just that one of the checks is a little bit slower coming to you, and that's the December check. Pretty simple? Yes, absolutely simple. But what do people try to do? Take something simple and make it complicated and make you buy into a fake narrative. And what is that fake narrative? That you are getting extra money if you're on SSI and SSDI in January 2023. That you're getting extra, supplemental, more extra money, an extra check, an extra wad of cash for just the month of January. It's untrue. It's untrue. Rather, your December check, which would normally arrive in December, is arriving in January, along with the January check. So you're going to have actually 2 checks in your hand. You're not getting extra cash. It's just totally wrong. Now, remember, this is totally different than what we already went over, which is your benefits are going up. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about someone saying, for the month of January, getting an extra wad of cash just for January. Just totally wrong. And that's why you watch this channel. Let's go back into the breaking news that we're dealing with today. And boy, it was a surprise. Some corporate earnings were released minutes ago, and they were deliciousness. Not what we were expecting. And among them was AutoZone. Oh boy, were they in a zone, because apparently they really got it right. AutoZone beat on top and bottom for the third quarter corporate earnings released today, and no one saw this coming, including me. That beat it against that. I bet against AutoZone. AutoZone is like another auto manufacturer parts retailer, and based upon other parts retailer missing, based upon the auto industry slumping, based upon used car sales down, I thought that AutoZone was going to miss. It did not. It beat on top and bottom for the third quarter. Really great news. So it means that, and the reason why this is fascinating, I would never come up with this analysis. The reason why AutoZone beat is because consumers are not buying a new car, but they're fixing their current car. Oh, wow. So if we could do that analysis all the time, life would be easy. Wouldn't it be easy? They're not buying something new. They're just fixing it. So they're not buying a car, they're fixing it. AutoZone up. They're not buying a house, they're fixing the house. So does that mean that Lowe's will be up tomorrow? No one is buying a house, they're just fixing the house they have. Everything's broken. They're not moving to a new house because the house is broken. They're just going to fix the house is broken. Maybe. I don't think that usually works. Royal Caribbean. The plane, Gilligan and the skipper too. What are they doing today? They lost 2.1% of pre-market trading today. Lost money? Royal Caribbean was down. Wait a second, Ally. You told me 2 days ago that Royal Caribbean, the cruise operator, was straight up because they're expecting massive cruise bookings in 2023. They've already seen some of them. The pre-bookings for 2023 for cruises are straight up. And for Las Vegas, the highest of a generation. Currently, Las Vegas is selling more hotel rooms right now in December 2022 than they even did pre-pandemic. But Royal Caribbean was down 2.1 in pre-market trading. Why? It got a double downgrade from overweight to underweight from JP Morgan Chase. Overweight means buy a lot of it. Underweight means lose some weight. Lose some Royal Caribbean really quickly. What's going on? The analysts are generally upbeat on cruise companies, but they say that Royal Caribbean is vulnerable to rising capital and future financial commitments. I don't know really what that means. I'll be frank. I don't know what that means. I guess it means that even for travel and leisure to do well, if you're exposed to the financial aspects of your business, then you may not do well across the board. I'm really surprised about that. JP Morgan Chase, you saw Jamie Dimon earlier in his recording. Guess when he always comes out to talk? When he has corporate earnings. He doesn't come out otherwise to talk about anything except when he has corporate earnings. And he always does it when the company is doing really well. JP Morgan Chase got upgraded by another bank, Morgan Stanley, which upgraded from underweight, there's that word again, to overweight. Oh, get overweight on some Jamie Dimon. Based upon growing consumer operations across the board. And then what about some jewelry? He should not have done it. Is jewelry doing well? Okay, so let's think about this one. Discretionary spending is jewelry. We had a viewer, what was her name? Oh, I have it in my notes here. My apologies. You know what your name is. I forgot it. It's in my notes here. She was in the jewelry stores on Black Friday. She said they were empty. So Signet Jewelries reported a beat on top and bottom, even though same source sales were down 7%. The stock is up 8% in pre-market trading. Wow, that is fascinating. So the sales are down, but they beat on revenue, beat on bottom. Incredible. That's why I have to get all these incredible stimulus checks. I mean, what a confusing night that was, a breaking news. And you know what you deserve for all this? Some Costco pizza. Tomorrow, Costco reports corporate earnings, and I will have them with you as soon as the deliciousness comes on in. Stay with this channel, because what are you watching? You're watching America's #1 most watched financial news network for this subject matter. Broadcasting since 2020, I've gotten viewers $50 million. Big money, and they're members. So you go right in this video, become a member. As a member, you get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. You now have 3 different channels to choose for membership. They all deliver the membership newsletter. LALATE 1, LALATE 2, or LALATE 3. On LALATE 1, watch live mornings, LA Late, 9 a.m., afternoons, 3 o'clock, and evenings, 5 o'clock, all brand new every day. Then on the evenings, we go into Street and Stimulus at 7, 6 o'clock is Countdown, 8 o'clock is Extra, 9 o'clock is Sunset. Evenings, LA Live airs on this channel at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Then jump into that hit new show, LA Late Late Night, which is a live show taped on another version of this set at every night at 8 o'clock. I'm live on air, so if you have questions across the board, jump into that show. I'm here to answer your questions. Then, over on LA2, is Stimulus live, and boy, has it been on fire this week. It has absolutely taken off. It's always been called Stimulus Live, but got a brand new branding with that title and that brand new image, and it is on fire. Jump on Stimulus Live on LA2 24/7. Then on LA3 is Wall Street Live, and it features the latest details of the markets. Make sure you watch that channel as well. Go into the video, subscribe. Go into the video, hit the bell for all notification on, and also become a member. Remember, this is where we cover stimulus that is law. I'm not here for predicting stimulus. I'm not here for talking about maybe, shoulda, coulda, woulda, kinda, will. I'm going over something that's already law. And when I find more stimulus for you, I also feature that in the membership newsletter. For the shores of San Monica, California, have a beautiful night. Happy holidays. I'll see you throughout the night and live on all those incredible shows. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a great night. Pounce on all this incredible stimulus. Stay informed, stay focused. And stay with Ally for more.